It's brave of you to
I don't know what a good father is, but I'm a good father to my 4 children and my 16 great-grandchildren.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you are. I'm glad. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know that you had an interest in singing.
I'm sorry?
I know you had an interest in singing.
I didn't get that. City.
You had an interest in singing. You were a singer.
A singer?
Yes.
Oh, I entertained in the Marine Corps. I entertained when I came home in the clubs. And I didn't like it too well. And then I did concert work. Never studied voice or music.
Never?
Never.
So it didn't start young?
I never did. I didn't want to. I had one teacher tell me, I went out to California, Hollywood, to break into the Hollywood, and the strike was on because TV came out, nothing doing, so I went back to Detroit.
Oh.
Yeah, I went back and I met a little gal, we got married, and we had one child. We moved to Wisconsin to see a buddy of mine. We stayed there 32 years and raised 4 children.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I went in the ministry for 32 years. What did I say, 32 years? Yeah, 32 years we lived there. Then I went in the ministry quite a long time.
Yeah.
Until I was 83.
And so this is all post-military.
Pardon?
This is all after you got out that you went?
This all happened after the war.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So jump back to kind of your military career. What was it that brought you in? What made you want to join up?
This is very interesting. And I will never forget it. We were 16 years old, 3 of us kids, boys. We were sitting in an old car in front of our house in Detroit. And it was the 8th of December. We hadn't gone to war yet. They hit us on the 7th. And we're sitting in the car, we're listening to big bands. I miss them. We need them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden the announcer came on and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this broadcast. The President of the United States will address the nation." We didn't know what that was about. We knew Pearl Harbor, but we didn't know where Pearl Harbor was. We never knew, we never studied it, you know. And so we sat there and he started. And this is what he said. "Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked upon by the naval and armed forces of the Empire of Japan. I interpret the will of Congress and of the people. We shall gain triumphant victory, so help us God." And that was it. That was the last part of it. And I said, tomorrow morning, I'm going to skip school. I'm going to go down to the Marine Corps Induction Center. I'm going to join up. And my 2 buddies says, "You can't. You got to be 17. I said, "Well, I only got 6 months to go. I'm going down and get the paper." "Your mom's not going to sign that paper." "We know that." "I'll get that paper." So I got up in the morning, my 2 sisters, my brother. I said, "Don't say a word to Ma." My father was gone half the time. And they said, okay. And they went to school. And I went right downtown Detroit, walked up in I think the 8th floor. And the gunny sergeant met me. And he says, "Young man, what can I do for you?" And I says, "I want to join up." He said, "How old are you?" I said, 16. He said, "Can't use you, but I'll take you at 17. How long you got to go?" I said, 6 months. He said, "Come back at 6 months with a paper. I'll give you the paper, have your mother and father sign it, bring it back to me, and we can do business." He said, "You want to do that?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Go." I took off. I was so excited. I walked in the back door. I said, she said, "What are you doing home?" I said, "Oh my gosh, I skipped school." And I said, "You got to sign this paper when I'm 17. What is it?" "I get in the Marine Corps." She says, "You're not going to the Marine Corps. You're not going to the war. You're going to go back to school." I said, "Ma, I'm going to the Marine Corps in 6 months. I'm going to go." And she said, "Your father's been talking to you. He was a Marine in the First World War." And I said, no, I've seen enough movies on Marines. I want to be a Marine. He said, you're not going to do it. You're going back to school. Throw that paper away. So I went out and hid it in the buffet drawer under papers and shut the drawer up. And I sat in the front and listened to the radio. Oh my gosh. The next day, I came home from school and I said to my mother, I said, Mom, are you going to sign the paper? I said, what paper? Did you throw that away? I said, no. I said, I hid it. Well, throw it away. My dad said, wait a minute. What paper you got there? I said, to get in the Marine Corps. He said, give me that. Give me a pen. He said, Vera, sign this. She said, I'm not. I said, Vera, let me tell you something. Listen to me. The boy walked out of school. He does menial jobs. That's all he's doing. He'll probably turn out to be above, sign the paper. And I went to my mother. She said, give me the paper. She signed it, ran all the way downtown again. I walked in, he saw me coming. He said, how'd you do? I said, I got it. I was 17 then.
Yeah.
That was the day of my birthday. He said, good. He said, see that door over there? I said, yes, sir. He said, you're going to go in that door, and you're going to be the Navy doctor. And that Navy doctor is going to work you over from the top of your head to the tip of your toe, and you ain't going to forget it. And he knows it. He said, do you want to do that? I said, yes, sir. He said, go. I went in there, oh my gosh. And from the top of the head to my tip, and I come out of there, oh my aching back. I went home, he said, I want to tell you something. In 2 weeks, I will call your parents. They bring you down to the train station, Detroit. Mm-hmm. And we'll go out to San Diego. There'll be about 12 of you. So it all happened. But you know the funniest thing, we didn't catch on. Here we are, the first time we're leaving home. Never left home before. We were close families, you know.
Yeah.
Oh boy. We sat there in line, all of us, 12 of us. And he said, I want you to listen to me. Your parents are standing back there, your families. I want you to go back there. I want you to go there. Be back here in 3.5 minutes. Can you do that? We said, yes, sir. He said, go do it. We ran back, said goodbye, cried, all that. Went back in formation. Now, let me tell you, you young guys, something. And you're never going to forget it. And he started talking. And I said to a kid next to me, I said, this guy don't sound so nice anymore. He was so nice to me. I said, no, he's not nice. He's got us now. We took off. Took us 4 days to get to San Diego. Went to boot camp for 8 weeks. And it was a great experience. It made a man out of us.
What was the first day there like? Was it a shock to the system?
Well, we got there during the day of the train, and we went for chow. First time we were eating in the mess hall, and then we went back to our tents, and the sergeant gave us a bunch of paper to read and study and so forth, and then we hit the sack. And about 5 o'clock in the morning, the horn blew, almost out of bed. Never had that happen in our lives. And then he yelled, 675, fall out the street in 2 minutes. If you're not out, I'll come and get you out. We all ran out there, stood in formation. The second time that happened, I was washing my teeth. There was how do I want to put it? We call them heads, restrooms, and you could wash up and clean up and everything, shower if you had to. And I was washing my teeth, and I'm lolly-dolling around. And I take off. I know we were going for chow. When I got out by the company street, they're gone. And I thought, I'm in for it. So I ran out and saw him march. I ran, jumped in the back rank. He said, 2, halt, 1, 2, Grace, fall out. I came out in front. You're not going to believe this. Mm. He said, Grace, what time do we fall off for chow? I made a mistake. I used the word I think.
Oh, no.
Bam, bam, and I went down on the ground.
Oh
I
no.
picked myself up and I cried. He says, now go on back in rank. And we took off. He never said a word to me all day long. I could go make a phone call after duty. So I went down by the PX and made a phone call. I couldn't get in. We couldn't go in the PX. So I made a phone call. Instead of my mom answering, my dad was there. And he said, hello. I said, Dad? Yeah, Dad. Yeah, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm all right. He said, what's the problem? And I told him. He said, Don, shut your mouth. Go back to your outfit and do as you're told. And I went, geez, I didn't expect that. I threw the phone down, went back to my tent. That's where it all started for 8 weeks. But you know, when we got out of boot camp, all of us, we went on our first liberty, and we all had beer around. And we had a toast. And then we all agreed. That guy was mean, but he made something out of us. He made us become Americans, real Americans, not school stuff. We became men in 8 weeks. We were young men, not teenagers. And that's what they do. I hope they do it today. We were out the base, up the Marine Corps base, out, and we had those kids there, and oh my gosh, I hope they went through with what we did. Help them get through combat and everything.
So you would say he was extremely influential to you?
Pardon?
You would say he's extremely influential to you, your drill instructor.
I didn't quite understand you again.
You're okay. He was very influential to you.
Yes.
Who else was? What other members of your units?
Well, we only dealt with it for 8 weeks. We dealt with just our platoon leader. We didn't deal with anybody else. Well, we had shots, physicals, all that stuff. Yeah. Well, we graduated, and we went over to Linda Vesta with rifle range, and then we joined an outfit that was waiting to be called overseas. And one morning, he fell us out. He said, I'm going to march you down to the water, and I want to tell you something. So we marched down by the water, and he said, see those transports there along the dock? We said, yes, sir. He said, when you're done, you join another outfit, and they get called to go in. You're going to go on those transports. And if you listen to me and keep your nose clean and do as you're told, you might just come back. But as I look at you, I don't think it's going to happen. That's a terrible thing to tell a kid. Oh, but we took it. We took it. That's what these kids are going through, I hope.
So, did you end up coming to Hawaii?
Pardon?
Did you end up coming to Hawaii, Hawaii during your time in service?
Yeah, I went to New Zealand first.
Okay.
We spent about 3 months and trained there up in the mountains. Well, they broke our outfit up. They broke the Marine Raiders up, paratroopers, and we formed the 5th Division, which is the Spearhead Division. And that was Roosevelt's pride joy. And his son was my regimental commander, Jimmy Roosevelt. And suddenly he got a call and went to Washington. We never saw him again. Never saw him again. So then we had Liver's Edge. And I have to say that we were ready. We were anxious to go. We weren't scared a bit. That's what we wanted to do, and by gosh, we were going to go and do it, you know. Well, they called it off. And all of us went back to the States, and we formed the 5th Division. Mm. And that division was to take Iwo Jima. We never heard of Iwo Jima. We didn't know anything about it. Nobody ever heard of it. It was never mentioned. We didn't know that. And they didn't even tell us, don't say anything. We never heard that name. All of a sudden, let's see, a year or so after Pearl Harbor event, we went through the channel in a convoy, and I saw oil all over the place. Man, you know, Ryman, when you get a bunch of teenagers aboard ship, you're going to hear some noise. Not one word. We leaned over the side like that. We never talked. We never looked at one another. There were some tears. And out in the ocean we went. and we sailed. Went to Hawaii, hung around there a little bit, then we got the word. We came back to Honolulu and picked up something, supplies, and headed on out to the channel. And in 2 weeks, well, 1 week we landed at, we anchored at Saipan. Now, Saipan was over. And all I could see on that island were B-29 tails, that big tails, all over that runway, just thick. We boarded amphibious tractors. And that's what we hit the beach with. But that's what we took to Iwo. One day out of Iwo Jima, we had orientation. There was a battle overhead. And the orientation, they brought up a clay model of Iwo Jima, and they described what it was, the name, told us where we were going to go, where they were going to go with the 3 divisions. And our job was to go into Green Beach, one right by Mount Suribachi, our 28 Marines, and move up over on the top from the beach, turn left 545 feet. It took us, how long did it take? 3 days to go 575 feet to take Mount Suribachi. It took us a full day to get to the top. Well, we then got the flag up. It was all secure. Then we headed to the north. Hill 362A. Everybody knows about it. I lost my battalion there. There weren't too many of us left, and we moved to the north 3 more weeks. And when we got to the north end, we were released by the 3rd Division at the 6th week. You won't believe this. Out of 300, probably 325 hit the beach. 6 weeks later, 18 of us walked down to the cemetery, no officers. And as we moved to the cemetery, the old man met us, regimental commander, Harry the Horse Liver's Edge. He said, "Men, I want you to file on a single line and walk through that cemetery." It was ours, at the foot of Suribachi. And he said, "I want you to go in and say goodbye to your buddies and your officers. Come out, we'll go aboard ship, go back to Hawaii, get ready for Japan." Okinawa was on, that was it. There wasn't any more on it to take. We went down, we lined up. We started to go through the gate of the cemetery. Every Marine stopped and leaned over and saw a page on there about that size, 8.5 by 11. It was tacked there. I couldn't see it, but I knew it was there. And they were reading it, and then they'd walk through. I came to it. This is what I read. The CBs put that there. They built the cemetery. But it was good. It said, "Fellas, when you go home, tell the folks we did our best, that they may have many more tomorrows." It was moving. I'll never forget it. Yeah, boarded up, war ended, moved into Japan, Fukuoka, and did our work there. And they thought, I had a buddy, his name was Ben. Mary, I don't think you were roll call there, but Ben was Japanese, and he was a kamikaze. He was a professor in Dallas. Really got educated. And he would come to roll call, our group. She's our president. And he came to me one day and he said, "You know, Don," he said, "I appreciate your kindness. I brought a picture for you." It was an 8.5 by 11 of him. And here he is, back home. We're coming to occupy now. But they didn't believe that, because they were told we were rapists and killers. We'd slaughter them. Here he is, in front of his Jap zero, 15 years old. He said, "Don, there were 200 of our ships there with us. We were coming at you if you would have come in fighting." He says it would have been a slaughter. Harry Truman got called to the Pentagon. Now I know this because a Rear Admiral was assigned to the Pentagon every day of the war. He said, "Fellas, I never went aboard ship. I had to stay there." And Harry Truman wanted to know the mortality rating for taking Japan. They figured it out. They sent the note back to him. 7 million. Us. He said, "We'll drop the bomb." That's it.
So you think you agree with Truman?
Pardon?
That, oh, sorry. So you agree that the bomb should have been dropped?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Then we went into occupation, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that with the Battle of Iwo Jima, there was many lives lost, but it would have saved many Americans because of that battle as well, correct?
I don't, a bottle?
Oh.
What'd you say, a bottle?
No, you're just thinking about whiskey.
What were we thinking about when we went in?
When the Battle of Iwo Jima, you lost.
Oh, the Battle of the...
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
Don, you lost a lot of
ladies, the battle, not the bottle.
Sorry. A lot of
What was-
lives.
You want to know what it was like?
Sorry. You lost so much. How did you feel after that? How did you handle it?
After the Battle on Iwo?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I can tell you this, us Marines during the war, we crawled up the side and down the side. And we were tired. We had no sleep. Do you imagine us 6 weeks? We had no teeth wash, we had no water at all. We had to drink our water. For 6 weeks, we hadn't taken care of ourselves. It was terrible. We were a mess. And when we were climbing up the rope, we knew it was our ship that we came on. And our buddies were waiting for us. They'd help us over. And he looked at me, he said, Don, I'm so glad you made it. I said, well, yeah, I'm fine. He said, gee, he said, what's wrong with your eyes? I said, why? Well, he says, they're on fire. As we haven't had any sleep. He said, yeah, that might do it. But they treated us royal when we got on that ship. And the first thing we did was take a good hot shower. Oh, that felt so wonderful. Scrub our teeth. Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
What was the first meal?
You never think about when you see movies on war, they never talk about that. They don't wash their teeth. You can't do that because if they come at you, where's your weapon at? I mean, you're not ready. So that, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. Thank you. What was the first meal you had when you got back on the ship?
That was what?
What was the first meal? What did you eat? When
After we
back?
left the island?
Yeah.
Well, when we went in, we had steak and eggs. And we could see the battle on the beach, the Navy and our Air Force and the Navy, and the guns were hammering that island. We were watching it, and we're eating away. And hey, wait a minute, buddy, what's with the steak and eggs? We never had steak in the Marine Corps. He said, God, what do they give convicts before they execute them? I'll never forget that. I said, I know what you mean, he said. I said, oh, yeah. Now, when we hit the beach, I didn't tell you about that. We had men that had previous combat. John Bassalone, the first Medal of Honor on Guadalcanal, was to my right on the beach. A sniper killed him. He went through Guadalcanal and another campaign, I forget which one. But he wanted to get, and he was on a bond tour, and it raised a lot of money. And he told Chesty Puller, when he was young, he said, General, he said, I want to go back with my buddies. I can't handle this anymore. He said, but we need you. He said, I want to go back. He said, well, I can't argue with the Medal of Honor. You're going. He came back, joined us. We hit the beach. Within 10 minutes of the beach, he was dead. He was with his buddies. Yeah. That's the way it is. Yeah.
What?
I can tell you a funny one. There's a guy by the name of Bob Beavers. He was always in the brig. Oh, he was over the hill a lot of times. But he was a good Marine. Was a fighting Marine. And I ran in a hole I lost my, see, a flamethrower operator has a man on the left and right.
Yes.
That's 72 pounds. I was an inch shorter then and a few pounds lighter. And I ran up the beach to get off the thing, and I turned around, they're both dead. So I was on my own, so I made a left turn and hit the first shell hole. I rolled down in it, and there's Bob Beavers. He's like this, in a hole, and his hands are behind him like this. And 6 inches above his hand, a sniper on the hill is firing at him. I said, Beavers, slide down, you're going to get kicked. He said, listen, Don, the guy had been, he was doing this for 15 minutes. If he could have got me, he'd have got me then. He can't get me. That's the kind of fellas we had.
So I've heard of the hot chocolate story. I was wondering if you could tell it to me.
Hot chocolate.
Yes.
Let me tell you what happened before the hot chocolate. Though.
Okay.
While we're on the beach, scared to death, no place to go, we couldn't get up. Well, if you did, you got shot. I never prayed in my life. Depression kids did not go to church. We didn't have any decent clothes. We wouldn't go to church. I didn't know much about God. I believed in God. I had the fear of God, but I didn't know about Him. I lay there. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get up. I couldn't go. So I cried out. I said, God, if you're alive and you're real, as people say you are, and you can do for me what you do for other people, and get me off this island, I'll serve you the rest of my life. He got me off 6 weeks later. 9 years later, I was married. We weren't making it. We were getting almost ready for divorce. I was losing my friends, and I had a lot of them. And I was getting sort of a bad name. I was a singer around in Wisconsin. I went on a fishing trip. Fish weren't biting, but the bottle bass were. And we drank bottle bass. Came home, threw myself on the couch. My wife was doing her housework. Phone rang. She answered it. It was a dear elderly couple from Copenhagen, Denmark. They were our landlords at one time, and they were so good to us. I respected both of them. And she hung the phone up, came over and said, Don, Mr. Boodon wants you to call him. I wonder what he was. I don't know, but she had to call him, so she took off. I got up and I struggled over by the phone. I dialed, hello. He said, Donald? I said, yes, sir. Peter Bielo. I said, yes, sir. He said, I said, what can I do for you? He said, Donald, listen to me. I don't want you to say one word to me. You are losing your best friends. You're losing your wife, and you're going to lose yourself, and you can't help yourself. I didn't deny that. I said, yes, sir. I want you to take my wife and I to Oshkosh, up the lake. At the high school, they're showing a Billy Graham campaign movie. Oh, well, we want to see that. You need to see that. I said, I'll get dressed and be right over. Something's happening. Someone remembered. It was God. Things are starting to happen. I didn't understand all about that. We walked in the high school, and I was a public singer, and a lot of people knew me. And I could feel them saying, there's Graves, let's pray for him. Right there, we hope he gets saved tonight. Becomes a Christian. I went and sat in the front row with my wife. The couple sat behind me. Billy came on. And in those days, he preached hellfire and brimstone. You were not your own, you're bought with a price. And that price was Jesus Christ on Calvary. He paid the price for your sins on Calvary. He died for you. He loves you. He wants to save you. He wants to give you a whole life. You need Christ tonight. You come to God. And then the film went on. And when he said that, I thought he was talking to me. I was so confused. And then I began to cry. Fell right down on the floor. My wife was next to me. Never said a thing. And I poured my heart out to God. I answered everything that bothered me as much as I could. And I got up on my feet. The film ended, and the preacher got up on the stage, and he said, now, what we're going to do, before you go home, we're going to have an altar call. We're going to sing a song. And if you have a desire to know God through Christ, you come. You come tonight. Come to us. We'll pray for you, give you a Bible, send you home. I didn't say a thing. I got up, and they started singing Just As I Am without one play. Beautiful song. I loved it. And oh, that's when it hit me. I really confessed everything. I turned around, and when I began to turn, a voice said to me, and I'm not imagining this, a voice said to me, sit down, you fool. What about your wife? Well, the way we were getting along, I said, I don't think it's going to work. Not going to work. I turned. She looked at me and got up, grabbed my hand. Let's both go up together. We did. We went home that night, dropped the couple off. We sat in a brown leather chair for the first time. It was a wedding gift. I said, you know, we need a Bible. And I looked down, there was an old Bible. I picked it up, and I said, honey, I don't know anything about the Bible, but I'm going to open it up, and I'll put my finger on something. She's all right. So I did. And I went like that. Then I looked down, and this is what I read. The Lord is good, a stronghold the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. Nahum 1:7. I will never forget that. 5 men came to me who were Gideons, God-fearing men, and they put me to work. They took me to Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. The professor asked me questions. He said, Don, you need some Bible training, but you're not going to get up my class. He said, I don't want you in my class. He said, you're going to get some college-level books, and you're going to study those books for 2 years, and we're going to give you a certificate. And you'll go from there. And I did. I fell in love with it. I used to get him to study. My wife was doing housework again. I said, honey, come on over. Listen to this. I bother her all the time. Listen to this. I want to say that I sort of mastered the scriptures. No one knows all about it. No one can possibly study that good. But you know enough. God reveals enough. And I got a call. I worked with Youth for Christ for a while. And I got out to churches a lot. So I got a call about 2 years later asking if I would come and speak to their congregation. So I did. We drove 100 miles away and just north of Wisconsin Dells. And I spoke. First time I ever spoke in a church. I was scared to death. I wasn't scared of people, but I was scared then. And I preached. And after that, they came up the committee and said, Don, would you be willing to come back again and speak to our young people? You're only going to get about 6 or 7. We had 35, 40 young people, and we've lost them. The preacher took them downtown Chicago, and they met the Black Panthers. It was terrible. And those kids just dispersed. And so he said, there is a heavy job here for you, but we think you can do it. I had 5 churches. Every one was run down, and God used me to build it back up. I left my last church at 82 years old. My wife became very ill. I called my daughter who lived in Texas. I said, honey, can you come out and help me? She's in bad shape. Dad, she said, I've been there twice, and we can't afford it. You got to pack up and come here to Texas. I said, me from Detroit? Are you crazy? I'm not going to come to Texas. You come here, we've got everything, you'll love it. Well, I had no choice. They came, helped me pack. We drove to Fort Worth area. And I've been there 16 years. God has been so good to me. I've had 124 meetings in 1 year. Telling my experience. We haven't had it since, but we're busy. Mary goes with me. She takes me. She's kind of a boss, you know. She thinks she's running me. She can run our group. But she's a nice girl.
She's a great girl.
And you know, she pulls rank on me. She was a master, special master sergeant.
Senior.
And I'm a corporal. 2 stripes. She got them all over her arm.
So Don, there's 3 stories from Iwo Jima that you need to share. Tell her about the sword and the sniper
All right.
first.
When I made a left turn from the beach,
Yes.
I moved to a shell hole and a kid yelled out, "Graves, hold up, hold up." And there was a buddy of mine. He was a different company. Our battalion took the hill, 3 companies. And so I said, "Come on over." He said, "I'll help you," he said. So we worked together. So we moved towards the base of the mountain the next morning. And a Japanese, he crawled out of a hole. He ran across the front of us and dove down in another hole. So I said, "Wait, hold up." He went down that hole. So John says, "I'll go and drop a few grenades." No. We'll talk him out. In orientation aboard ship, we were told to take prisoners. We didn't know a thing about that island. We needed information. I know that. So I said, we've got to, if he wants to give up, we'll take him back down to a compound. He said, "All right." I said, Detakoi, come. Kohanushaki, flamethrower. I said it about 2 or 3 times. Nothing. I said, "Okay, let's advance." When we took 1 step, he came out. And this time when I saw him, he had a beautiful uniform on, a plume hat, and a beautiful sword. He was a high-ranking officer, and he wasn't about to be captured. And I said, "That sword is mine." And John says, "You can have it." I said, Detakoi. Kohanushaki. Boom! He had a shape charge on his chest and blew himself to pieces. Nothing left. I never even got the sword. That's one.
The sniper.
Yeah, the next one was the sniper. We got about halfway up through the island, and we didn't have too many men left. Two machine gun squad leaders, they were alone, and I was alone. So we joined together, the 3 of us. They come at us at night. In the daytime, sniping. Not much advance with them, but they came at night all like crazy. Well, we're sitting in a hole during the day. We're talking. And I said, "I got to get up there and look, see if there's any snipers." So I got up, and I knelt there, and I was looking all over there, talking. And I mean, I was there for 15 minutes. And I gave up, turned around, came back, grabbed my phone. I got on the horn. I said, "Graves, CP." They said, "Graves, go ahead." I said, I've been looking for snipers, haven't seen a thing." Well, he said, "They know where we're at, the company CP." He said, "First sergeant took around his legs, so they're there. Be looking out. Look, by the way," he said, "I'm sending a kid over there for your replacement. He'll be there in 10 minutes. I said, "Good, we need him." 10 minutes was up. He slid over in our hole. He said, "Who's Graves?" I said, "I am." "What do you want me to do?" "Just sit over there, buddy. There'll be plenty to do tonight." So he saw me take my glasses. "I got to be looking." He said, "Graves, let me take a look." I said, "No, you get yourself shot." One of my buddies says, "Give him the glass. That's what he's here for." So I threw the glasses. He got up right where I had been, right next to me. Whew. He fell back. His helmet came off, and we were shocked. I'd been up there 15 minutes. That kid took my place. That sniper was waiting for me to get up there again. He knew where I was at. And I looked down, and that helmet stopped spinning. And down in the helmet was a beautiful young lady sitting in a chair. And in her lap was a baby. I lost it. I just lost everything. Tore everything off me and jumped up and down. I cursed this and cursed that. Listen. And I cursed God. Have you let that kid take my place? Can you imagine, after asking God to get me off the island, and he did later on, God remembered what I said. God had his hands on me. And he let me go ahead and do my little folly. And then one day at that meeting, that's where it changed. And I've loved him ever since. I live a normal life. I love people. I've been an entertainer all my life. And I party with them. And I can't find a thing in the Bible that says I can't party. Because Israel partied once a year.
Find a thing in the Bible that says don't party.
Now, did I forget one?
Hot chocolate.
Oh,
Hot
oh, that
chocolate.
hot chocolate.
Yes.
All right, we're sitting again, almost to the end. They weren't even coming anymore. Down below was the beach, and the water was. There's two ways they can come. They can come our way, and we'll kill them, or they can go that way, and the boats will kill them, or they can drown. So they stayed, and we weren't going to go dig them out, and we had plenty of time to sit. Well, I said, I feel like hot chocolate. Let's have hot chocolate. We're a bunch of kids. The married guys drank coffee. So we'll make enough for the three of us. Okay. So we chipped our chocolate. We had ration bars, bittersweet, but they were good. And I diced them all up, and I made a batch of hot chocolate in my canteen cup. Then we shared it. But before we did that, I put demolition underneath, and it burns beautiful. And it was just beginning to purely get hot and perk, and it was smelling beautiful. And they said, man, that smells good. Let's have it. Is it done? Yeah, I think it is. Then all of a sudden, maybe from here to maybe 300-400 feet. Hey, Marie, very good hot chocolate. You bring chocolate here. I said, if you want hot chocolate, you come and get it. Oh, no, you bring here.
Incredible.
In combat, there's humor and there's sadness.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing that the Marine Corps teaches you, and you learn it in combat. Kill or be killed. That's it. I told those kids today, if you ever get in combat, remember one thing. If you don't kill, you're going to be killed. Make your mind up. That's it.
Did you sing on the island?
Huh?
Did you sing on the island?
Sing?
Yes.
They're in combat?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I sang. I had a Japanese. I was sitting there. I said, a couple of buddies said, "Hey Graves, give us a song." I said, "Okay." We didn't care anymore, and so I sang the Lord's Prayer. Now, can you imagine a rascal like me singing the Lord's Prayer? Have you ever heard it? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. But I heard Nelson Ed, and you wouldn't remember who he is, but he taught me how to sing by the way of his movies. Wonderful baritone. And he sang a recording of the Lord's Prayer, and I fell in love with it. And I sang the Lord's Prayer. When I got through, I heard, "Hey, buddy, very good sing. You sing again." I said, "No more singing," because I felt they wanted to know exactly where we were. So that was the end of that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Do you think, looking back, did you feel prepared for those situations?
Do I feel what?
For EO, did you feel like you were prepared for it? Were you prepared for the chocolate? Were you prepared for the singing?
No, because they spring that on you. You're never prepared for it. But what are you going to do? They know where we're at, but they're not going to move. They're not going to come at us. They're all through, and they're joking around. But you know, every one of their caves. Now I burn caves out with my flamethrower, and you know what? The ones we didn't have to, the engineers would go in and they'd check everything and then close it in. And they told us that in every hole there were large. Their beer bottles are that tall and that big. That's how big they are. And they were drunk. I did a sad. I shouldn't say it that way, but it was a quiet night, and we could see 400 feet away, and we knew they were there. They shot flares down, And when the flares lit up the ground, I looked, and out of an entrance came two Japanese in there. I don't know what that sarong or whatever they wear. That's all they have on. And he's got a big bottle of alcohol, and they're pointing towards us. And the other guy said, "Well, I was out there talking." And I said to my two buddies, "I'll hit the one on the left." They said, "You'll never hit him." I took his weapon, I aimed, and I fired, and I hit him in the side. He dropped down with one leg. It was sad. It was sad. This guy is drunk with a bottle, and he's down on, and he goes, "Oh yeah, quiet boy." And he's, "Whoa." It was great. We were laughing. The whole line was laughing. I really felt bad. I did. And I knew they'd kill us. So my one buddy says, "We'll finish him off." I said, "I can't do it." He took his M1 and killed both of them. Kill or be killed.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Is it okay if we talk more a little bit about post-war?
Pardon?
Is it okay if we talk more about post-war life?
About what?
Like life after the war?
Oh, after the war?
Yeah.
Well, you know that I went in the ministry.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
I lived it.
I was just gonna ask, what life lessons and experiences influenced you while you were in the ministry?
While I was in the ministry.
Yes. What parts of your life influenced your sermons?
You know people. You learn people. You learn what people are made of. I see. Being an entertainer, I love people. I like to be around people. You just get a group of people, and I'm coming. That's the way I am. And I don't like anything bad, but if we have fun, I love it. I love to go on with it. And I don't want God mocked. I don't want him made fun of, because I want to be part of that. So people ask you questions, and you tell them like these stories, they take it pretty good, but I've seen people break down by talking. Yeah. Some of them lose a loved one. They don't want to hear it. And you have to find out, if they can handle it. But that's what I do. And I do talk about it on the stage when I speak, and they seem to handle it.
I did research, and I noticed that you did work. I think you were at a middle school doing a flag raising.
Yeah.
What has been the most impactful youth moment for you?
Because of the flag raising, or
For just anything with the youth, how have they touched your heart? How have the youth come to you and impacted you?
how did what affect me?
The youth, like children that you work with and that you get to meet. How did they?
Well, I have four children.
Yeah.
And I've always liked kids. I always have. Well, of course, we were at a banquet the other night. And there were two little boys. They were like this tall. They had Marine uniforms on. And I said, "You two fellas want to be Marines?" He says, "Yes, sir." I said, "Stand at attention." And I drilled them. They were good. There were a couple of older Marines standing there, and they were kind of laughing. And I said, "All right, parade, dress." I turned them towards them. "Dismissed," and they broke up. I said, "You two are going to be good Marines." They smiled, laughed like that. I said, "Your daddy a Marine?" "Yeah, he's a Marine."
If you could broadcast a message to the entire younger generation, what would you say to them?
Just what I said to our young Marines today. You are the future America. We can't do that anymore. We're too old. We're too involved. It takes young blood to do that. I tell the schools that. And I'm disappointed in saying it, But you know who listens better than any of them?
Who?
Women. These boys I have no interest in. Our generation does not have the interest. Breaks my heart. But the girls do. I spoke at a high school, 600 graduates. And we had a great time, and I looked over, in comes a Marine recruiter. So before I got on the stage, I talked to him. I said, "You're going to recruit?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Just send him over to me." And I said, "By the way, young people, raise your hand there, Marine." He raised his hand. I said, "If you want some education, you can get good training, go see him." He came to me after he's done. He said, "I got 4. I said, "Well," he said, 4 beautiful girls. I said, "What about the boys?" Not a darn one came to me.
Oh my goodness.
I said, "Looks like we're going to turn the Marine Corps into women." We used to have, well, we still got some of them.
Oh yeah. My So do you think that the future of the Marine Corps, you think that it's looking bright? Do you think that the future of the Marine Corps is looking bright?
The future of the Marine Corps is what?
Looking good.
Looking good?
Yeah.
I think they're looking good, yes. They've got stuff we never had. I mean, we didn't have the clothing they have. We didn't. We fought in a shirt and pants. That's all look at what they wear today.
Oh yeah.
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 So, I mean, they're well equipped and they're well trained. And you know, it does my heart good because we had a good bunch of them there today. And there are some who care about their country. When you're out there speaking with high schools and you don't get nothing, it breaks your heart and you wonder what's going to happen to our country. But there are those who care and they want to do something, so they join. That's always happened. That's the good thing about America. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. And then you answered another question I had, so I have to look at what the last question was. So what message do you have for former, current, and future members of the ministry? What would you say to members of the ministry?
Say to who?
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
The ministry.
The ministry.
What about it? What about it?
What would you tell them? If you could talk to every member of the ministry, what would you say to them?
What would I say to them that are in the ministry?
Yes, or about to be. What message do you have for them?
It's so difficult to answer that because in my day, we had more fundamental Christian men, Bible believing. Today, I have people tell me, it'd be nice to hear a good old-fashioned gospel message. All we hear are the events of the world, about books and things we need to learn about the books. It's so changed. I couldn't be a pastor. I could not work with young people. Not today. I couldn't handle it. I know I couldn't. Because in my day, even though they would look up to an older person. They did. And I had that respect, but not today. I'll tell you, Mary, you weren't with me. Were you with? No, you were not with me at the time, but we went to a high school, graduates, 2 groups, and I spoke. Here's the boys. Here's the girls. I couldn't get a thing out of them. There was a young fellow that sat there like this, and I said, right during my speech, "Young man, how old are you?" He said, 18. I said, "When I was your age, I was shot at." And he went like that. Then he came up and talked to me after. And I dealt with him.
Yeah.
And it seemed to take effect. But see, he was never approached. He was never approached, and I always look for that. I had one high school. We had two groups again. I had two of my buddies with me. They were over by the door. I threw everything at them. I used everything I did to get attention. I couldn't do it. They got up and left. I had them get up and sing "God Bless America." I always close with that. They wouldn't cooperate. They stood up. It was bad, bad. And so my buddy said, Mark said, you threw everything at him. You couldn't get him. I said, no, I couldn't. It's bad. And the teacher apologized. It's not her fault. It's what they're learning. That's what she teaches. Yeah. We have a problem with our young men today. A lot of men agree with that. We have a problem with young. And yet you should see these young men at camp today. They're ready to go. There's always some that really want to, they care. They want to try it. They want to do it. Thank God. And I was one of them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have time for one more question, if you're willing. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Was there anything else you wanted to mention?
You shouldn't have asked me that.
Oh. I've got time. Let's go. This is good. I'm going to my clipboard down now. Let's go. Oh.
Hey.
Poll was made of.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
I
Don,
didn't talk about the flag raising at all.
Don,
Oh,
you
yes.
need to talk about the flag raising. Talk,
Oh, about the flag? You
tell
mean,
that story and make sure you include everything.
you
tell
mean
the story.
when it happened?
When you were there and
Oh,
the
I
flag
see
raising.
what you mean. Yeah, I didn't touch on that. But we get a little tired of it because we know the true story. I can tell you a few things of what happened.
Okay.
All right. As we approached the base, there's a lieutenant who was well known after. He was the one that led the patrol up, Lieutenant Harold Schreier. He became my company commander when we got back to Hilo, Hawaii, here. And my captain got hit bad, and he went off to the Navy hospital. So he took that over. He called me in the tent, and he said, Graves, he said, we're getting ready to give out medals. And I said, yeah. He said, he said, I don't know you. And I said, no, I know you because of who you are. He said, I don't. But I don't know what you did because I wasn't your officer. But your buddies say you did an excellent job. But it takes an officer and two enlisted men to get a medal. And you don't have any. I said, no, I don't. I can't do it. I'm sorry. But I'll give you another stripe. I said, send your mama home some more money. I didn't send my mama any money. But the flag raising. So Harold Schreier was at the base with us, and our major, our battalion commander, Colonel Chandler Johnson. After that, about 3 days later, one of our artillery men, young fellas, fired a round that landed behind him. It was 105 and blew him to pieces. It was terrible. A good man, we liked him. We really liked him, had respect for him. But before that happened, he said to Harold, and he reached in his blouse and he pulled off this flag. He's Harold. When you get up the top, he says, see if he can get something to put this flag up. He said, yes, sir. Well, he didn't steal it, but one of the officers aboard the ship that we came there on gave him a flag. They were in cahoots together. He could say, I gave him the flag that he put up. This was all that way. So he gave him the flag, and they went up. They got a few guys together, and they went up on top. We're fighting this way. They snuck up around on the left, and they seemed to get up there real quick. They got up there, and someone said, they're trying to rig up a flag. I said, what do you mean put a flag? We don't know anything about a flag. He said, yeah, they're going to put the flag up there. He said, they're trying to find stuff. So we got up to the crest, and as we stepped over where the flag goes, they were getting it raised up like this. And I thought, we didn't even have a mast to put a flag on. Where they got it on? You know what it was? You don't know this. Nobody here knows this. I told everybody this morning. They found drain pipe and they rigged that drain pipe up and tied the flag to it and put that up. Otherwise, they would never have gotten that flag up. See, people don't know that. That flag you see, that's drain pipe. Looks good.
That's incredible.
Stiff, hard.
Yes. But that was. Oh, sorry.
Now back.
So that was the first flag raising.
Pardon?
That was the first flag raising.
Flag raising. That was the
Yes.
first raising.
Yes.
We got back down, and then they were. I can't think of his name now, but the photographer.
Mm-hmm.
He had a crew with him, and they went up there, and he had the big flag.
Yeah.
And they, of course, they put it up, you know.
Mhm.
But they were different boys. It wasn't the
Yeah.
same group. Yeah. And then, do you remember there was quite a, I want to say a stink about it. Do you remember Bradley? Jack Bradley, the corpsman?
Mhm.
He was the one that reached. He was the one that had the mast in his hand.
Yes.
Yeah. They raised the second one, and everybody said Bradley was in the second one too. Whoa! If you look at it, well, so he's there. I mean, so what? You know.
Yeah.
Well, they found out that he wasn't in there. A photographer, forensic photographer, was in bed, and he jumped up and went and looked at the picture again, and he knew something. Bradley had leggings,
Oh.
no leggings. And Bradley knew that they found out. And everybody's saying, why did he lie that way? He wasn't lying. Do you know what would have happened if he would have said, wait a minute, I wasn't in that flag? Do you know what would have happened? It just tore the whole thing apart. He kept his mouth shut. He lived 60 miles from me. He wouldn't even see me. He felt so bad. He wouldn't say a word. His own John Jr. I met him. He wrote the book, Flags of Our Fathers. He said, we can't get a thing out of my dad. He died that way. He wasn't going to say, I wasn't in it. They're going to say, well, he lied. He left it alone. That was it.
Did you get to speak with him about other things though?
Huh?
Did you get to speak with him about other things though?
I'm sorry, hon. I do good.
It's okay. Did you get to speak with him? So he didn't speak about the flags, but did you still get to see him?
You know, when they all look alike.
Oh.
You really can't tell. And we never thought about the leggings, but I know that Bradley he never liked to wear a helmet or a hat. He just never liked a cap. So and we tried to, we just didn't do anything with it. I mean, I think he did the right thing, but he happened to be there. Come on, let's get this up, and he grabbed. But he wasn't in the second one. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don, after the war, did you ever talk to him about anything?
Bradley,
Yes.
you couldn't talk with him. He had a funeral home. His
Oh,
father
okay.
had it. He took it, and he had 3 boys. And he'd say to the boys, now they told me this,
Mhm.
if anybody comes and wants to talk, tell him I'm going fishing. They said, Don, he doesn't even have a fishing pole. He'd go upstairs. Did you see the movie Flags of Our Fathers?
I didn't get it.
Okay. It
yes.
showed, you see it?
Yes.
Of course, sir.
Do you remember he was upstairs on the stairway, and he said, were you there? I don't know how they got that thing. Were you there? Were you there? And I could, what is he talking about? Well, that was supposed to be Bradley. He died on the stairway. So the boys knew, he just didn't tell the boys anything. He wouldn't tell them. So they were after the boys, and the boys said, we didn't know about that. Yeah. So it's calmed over now, but when people say, boy, he was a liar. No, he wasn't a liar. We didn't want to blow that thing up. It'd have been terrible. So leave it alone. That's it. That's it. It's people use, they see it, they like it, they use it everywhere. We never thought we'd ever have anything like that happen. I'll be honest with you, we didn't think much of it. I mean, we loved our flag, but no, they got a flag up, I'll be darned. That's it.
Yeah. I have one more question.
Yes.
Is this your first time coming for a December 7th ceremony?
First time for what?
For a December, this is your first time coming back for the December 7th ceremony?
Where?
Like to Pearl Harbor. Is this your first time coming to Pearl Harbor?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, during the war.
But for December 7th?
No, first time since.
Okay.
But I was in Kona a few years ago.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I didn't get over here.
What has been the most important part of the trip for you so far?
This trip?
Yes.
Oh. Number one, I am so amazed how this has grown and blown. Look at these buildings. I never saw these buildings before. I mean, it's just boomed. I'd like to live here if I was about 10 years younger. It's great.
Don, what about your week here has been the most impactful to you?
Say it again.
What about this week for you has been the most impactful out of everything we've done this
Here?
week? Yeah,
Mhm.
this
I can
week.
easily answer that. Arizona. That took me. I know what they went through. They couldn't get out. They knew it. And they had to make the best of it. But beyond there, I can't imagine just sitting there crying, wanting their loved ones. We can all imagine what they went through. I looked at those names, just like Iwo Jima, same thing. Yeah. Yeah. We couldn't do anything about it. They took a surprise attack. But we should have been on the job, and we weren't. Instead, the leaders were all playing golf. And our boys were ready for liberty. And then they came in. And I know that we had, well, the colonel told me so, we had spies here. And they were drawn, they knew, these Japanese, they knew exactly where to go. Yep. We saw the bullet holes in the ground.
Mhm.
We saw where the shells hit at the Marine camp. You can see it.
Mhm.
Yep. They knew exactly where to go. So we had spies here. This was all planned. And the sad thing is, we had a sailor on duty, radio. He couldn't understand why those planes were in the air. We didn't have any in the air, and those that were already in. I mean, he reported that, and he's dreaming. There's no Japanese coming in. They didn't do a thing about it. So we lost 3,500 people. Yeah. Destroyed our equipment. Sunk our ships. Never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Here's an old saying that the Marines use. They'll keep their pants up this time and not be embarrassed. That's the way that's it.
Mhm.
They got caught with their pants down. They were embarrassed. The leaders. A lot of us are still bitter about that.
This is my final question.
Okay.
I promise.
Good. Well, you got to have two finals.
I know. Oh wait.
Or is there three?
This is
Is this 3? Oh, this is 3. I'm so sorry.
awesome.
You're so fascinating to speak with, and you're such a positive speaker. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Look at Mary over there. I can just see what she's saying. She's going like this.
For the ceremony, are you looking forward to being with other World War II veterans?
Ceremony? What ceremony?
December 7th, the Wednesday ceremony in the morning.
Which did we have that?
Not yet.
Oh,
So December 7th
oh yes.
in the morning,
Oh, that's right. Yes,
we'll
yes,
have the big ceremony.
yes.
what does it mean to you to be there with other World War II veterans who...
You don't want to see me. I'll break down. I know I will. I got 7,000 buddies that were on Iwo Jima, buried. 20,000 shot up and taken off and put on ships, and some of them buried at sea. I can't forget that. Went to school. I saw, we walked through it. And you saw your name. Some of them had buddies. Some had brothers. And I saw one, Orville Carreview, Detroit, Michigan, went to school with him. And there he was. It was sad. It was sad. I'm glad. My daughter has been talking about wanting to come here, visit. I want them to be on that ship or over it. I want them to see that. I want my son-in-law to see that. He has no interest in military. He would never go in the military unless he was drafted. He just doesn't. They have no interest in that. My daughter does. He needs to see that. That would shock him. And you know, there's one, I feel bad about something. When it comes to the Marine Corps, and you observed one that's died, we always throw a slow salute. I failed to do it. I didn't think about it, and I wanted to do it. After it was too late, I wanted to throw a slow salute for the dead. When we have a Marine burial, everybody throws a slow salute. Slow salute. Return. Very moving. Did I answer your question?
Yes. You said you wanted to do it at the Arizona, your slow salute?
Pardon?
You said you wanted to do that at the Arizona? The
I
slow
wanted to
salute?
what?
You said you didn't get a chance to do it at the Arizona, the slow salute?
No, I failed to do it. It just slipped my mind. I was so intent on reading the names and you know, we stood over there. Either it's split. I don't know. You got one that. I mean, that's a big gun turret there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can imagine. I know about being aboard ships a lot during the war. We transport everywhere, and I know what it would be like if you went down with one of those things. You'd be in a tomb.
Can I confer with Weston on something really quickly?
But
I have to ask Weston something really quickly. Hold on one second.
remember what I said?
Yeah.
You can do anything you want.
I know.
I don't know. I'll double check on that.
Okay.
When we get that. But no matter what, if he wants to, I will make that happen.
Yes. If you want to go back to the Arizona, we will take you to the Arizona.
I will
Okay?
make that happen.
We will make it happen.
Really?
Yes.
We just gotta work out some logistics, but we will make it happen. I have
If
no
that's
problem
okay.
with it.
Of course, yeah.
Mary, you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay,
We will make it happen.
we'll do
If that
it.
is what
Thank
you
you.
want. Okay?
We can both do a slow salute.
Pardon?
We can both do a slow salute.
Yes,
No problem.
very easy.
We'll work on this in the-
Very easy to do.
Logistics and
No,
we will
if that's
make
what
it.
he wants to do, that would be amazing if he can do
Not
that.
even a problem.
Okay.
I have one more.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Don. So you're here 81 years later after the attack on Pearl Harbor that changed your life. What does it mean to you to see all of these people coming together to honor what you and your generation did?
You mean from other countries?
From everywhere. People
Yeah.
from all around the world are coming
Here,
here this
now.
week.
Now,
Do you know what I really believe?
What?
I believe they have compassion. That they want to be there. They want to see this. And that goes for some Japanese. I remember, maybe a year or two after we occupied Japan, and the reporters would go over and interview the people. And there was a mother and daughter. The daughter was probably college age. And they asked the mother how she felt about the result of Pearl Harbor. She was bitter. No, she agreed with the Japanese. But then they asked the daughter, and the daughter answered, I'm afraid we were paid back for what we did. That's it. They paid a terrible price. Look what we did to their city. We leveled them. Now they have the most beautiful cities in the world.
So Don, Wednesday, you're going to be in a parade,
What's
right?
that?
Wednesday is the
Yeah.
parade?
Nighttime, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be in a parade? I'm
Yeah.
a surf girl.
So when,
I'm going to
Don,
be scared.
Don, listen up.
Don,
Are you going to hold me up?
Wednesday you're going to be in a parade.
Yeah,
There's going to be people everywhere
yeah.
there cheering at you, saluting you. How does that make you feel?
Oh my gosh. I get embarrassed.
But really,
Does it give you hope that we do remember what you did for us and that we'll continue to remember and continue to honor?
It would do my heart good to see Americans do that. It does my heart good to see people go on that Arizona. And just like us, me, all of us military that go on there or was military, I mean, your heart goes out to that list of names. They were doing it right along. And they walked out silent. And they were silent walking out. It affected them. So, you know, I'm happy for the state of Texas. We do the same thing. Texas is a patriotic state. Well, I've lived in 5 states. Texas was the only one. They do it, but Texas goes out. They've got so many things for veterans you couldn't believe. Yeah. Yeah, this is a wonderful country here. This the island, you know, everything about Hawaii, the Hawaiian Islands. It's just great, and you don't know. You know, I can remember when they first opened up the tourism.
Mhm.
There was one of in fact, I hadn't seen him in years. He was one of my buddies, Von Evo. They interviewed him. It's on the tape. He was bitter. He was bitter. He needs to go to Japan. I was there about 5-6 years ago. I fell in love with that country. They do things to me my own country doesn't do. Pay a lot of honor. They bowed. Even though that's a custom, they bowed. They shook our hands. They asked what we would like. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
We were going to Evo. They knew that. I was on a 7-7 plane, 9 seats across.
Mm-hmm.
And it was break time. Students back and forth. And 4 of us went on a trip, all paid for, to Evo. And I'm sitting on that plane, I'm looking over, and I see that Japanese family. I wanted to talk to them, you know. So I have some pins, and the little girl was there, and I gave her a pin. And at first I said, "This all right?" She said, "Oh yeah, like that." She said, "They little broken English, not much." And I gave it to her, and the little girl didn't know what to do, so the mother pinned it on her. Her husband's sleeping, and her oldest daughter was there. And she said to her daughter, "Oh, Iwo Jima." And she leaned like this. "Iwo Jima?" I said, "Yes." Oh, like that. She woke her husband up. He was, what? And I was like this. She said, "Iwo Jima." I looked at my cab. I went like that. He said, "You on Iwo Jima?" I said, "Yes, sir." I was shocked. And I wanted to say, "Why did you do that?" You know, for what we killed a lot of their sons. I think he was saying, you went through evil and you made it. That's what he's saying, because they lost boys. Only 200 left, went back home. That's what he was saying. And they were military. They would stand like that, and the men would throw us salutes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And we're on the way to Iwo Jima, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We killed 20,000 Japanese soldiers. 20,000. 200 surrendered. That was it. That's because they found out something. That they weren't on a holy war. They were on a political war. Just like we've been doing. Taking our kids' legs and arms off and getting nothing for it. Political. Yeah.
May I?
Huh? Excuse me, I'm mad.
No. May I? Do you have any more questions?
No. Do you have a question?
No.
Do either of you have questions? Okay, then
Hey,
I want to.
wait a minute. I'm mad.
You're mad? Why are you mad? Alright. I want to thank you for your time today. I appreciate your service to our
Are you
country.
reading that?
Oh, yeah.
You ought to be ashamed.
I want to thank you so much for your time and your service. I am so grateful. This has been fantastic. I appreciate it so much. I didn't
Okay.
read that.
Can I have your address? I'm sending you a bill.
Okay.
It's gonna be
Next to Parsons.
Listen,
Bill,
I'll tell you what I feel about
You
this.
see why he wears me out?
Let's have a little respect over there, Master Sergeant.
we can stop it.
Oh, are we?
We can go off the record.
I had to say something.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, please. Then.
After you.
I want you to know that I'm honored to have you interview me. I think it's wonderful. You gonna cry?
Maybe a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm allowed to maybe tear up a little bit. Or